We're here with Nelli Tkach today. Nelli, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks, David. It's a pleasure.
We're talking to you from Romania, and you are working with Ukrainian refugees. Can you tell me a little bit about what you do and what's going on?
So I'm currently sitting on a floor in a hotel in Bucharest. I've been working with the refugees at the Sighet border of Romania with Ukraine for the past week as a part of our Cash for Refugees organization. And I'm currently ending my shift, coming back home and helping the refugees here at the Bucharest airport fly out to their destinations.
What is the name of the organization you're working with, and what is their charter and purpose?
It's called Cash for Refugees. It's an organization started out of Boston by immigrants from the former Soviet Union, specifically Ukraine and Russia. And their objective was very simple. When they came to the border at the beginning of the war, they saw the kind of support that the refugees were receiving, and they realized that the missing link was the money. Yes, they were being fed. Yes, they were given hygienic items, and they're given free transportation to various cities in Romania. They're given refuge in shelters, but they're missing local currency, or they're missing money to get to places or to buy something for their kids. This is my friend, Peppa, and she talks to kids. There are a lot of kids crossing the border with their moms. So when you're helping Cash for Refugees, you're actually helping moms with kids and the elderly who are walking their way through the border.
You were talking about translation services. I think something that maybe a lot of Americans have a hard time grasping or understanding is that, in Europe, you have countries that are, compared to the United States, much smaller, with totally different languages and totally different cultures. And how much of a challenge is that?
It's a huge challenge. Some of them know English, or they can speak some English. Some of them know Romanian because they live in the borderlands between Ukraine and Romania, but most of them speak Ukrainian or Russian only. And so I speak some Romanian. I also speak, as you can hear, English and Russian. So I was kind of a half and half translator. I wish I could speak Romanian better.
What is the experience? So refugee gets to the border crossing, and then what happens?
So after all the documentation is checked, he or she, generally it's women with children, are walked across the border by the firemen, the Romanian firemen, where they're greeted by the volunteers, and they're asked where they want to go, what kind of plans they have. They're able to eat and rest in tents. They're able to get any kind of medical help they need. And then they either go to a train station, then go to the airport after getting to Bucharest, which takes about 6 hours, or they're taken up by some of the volunteer organizations in the area to a refugee shelter.
How many are crossing the border with a plan, with the destination? Like you say, you're seeing 250 to 300 people a day. So, what's the percentage, or how many know where they're going?
The majority know where they're going, but it's not, 100%. It's not absolute knowledge. They have a friend somewhere who has offered them lodgings and support. It could be Ireland, it could be Bulgaria, it could be Germany, England, Canada, the US.
What do people need the most when they're getting to the border? I mean, I would imagine that most are coming with just the belongings in their back and what they can carry in a bag in their hand.
They need food, they need a place to stay and rest their feet. Some of the tents were available overnight, actually, so they could stay at the tent site overnight. They need the logistics. They need to understand how to get to places they think they want to get to. And they need a lot of translation and volunteers to help them be guided through the steps. And as a part of the Cash for Refugees organization, we were the only organization that gave the refugees money to get to their final destinations. We gave each family about 100 euros.
How did you get involved with this organization?
So from the beginning of the war, we've been thinking about how to help the refugees. I run a community center for Russian kids and teenagers. And we've collected humanitarian aid. We've also collected medical supplies and arranged the logistics for a plane coming to Ukraine with these medical supplies. But I wanted to be on site. I wanted to be on the ground. And through a friend from Facebook, I saw this opportunity to fly in, and I just jumped at it. And I feel fortunate to be here, and I'm thankful to Cash for Refugees for this opportunity, because I understand now how much we're needed here on the ground as volunteers.
What does the world need to do here?
I don't know, David. I know what I need to do, and I know where I can help. I also know how I can rally our community to help both in Seattle and here in Romania. The Ukrainians I know, or the Ukrainians that have passed through the border, are very strong people. And yet Ukraine is too small to fight on its own.
If somebody wanted to help the organization, what's the best way to do it?
Donate to Cash for Refugees. We were team number 5 on the ground. Team number 6 is flying into Romania as we speak from Boston. There might be different border crossings where they will start working. They also might go into refugee shelters directly. So there's a lot more work to do.
We know that Poland has taken in over 2 million refugees, and this nation has said they are willing to take in more, but they are becoming very strained at the volume of refugees that are coming through there. I think the number I had read for Romania was 500,000 refugees have come through. How is the Romanian government coping with that, and what assistance are they in need of, or if they said anything?
I'm seeing a lot of presence of the Romanian officials on the border. I'm very thankful to Romania for supporting the refugees. There is police, there are firefighters, there are a lot of humanitarian organizations helping at the border. Some hotels are giving free accommodations to the refugees. And in general, as I was walking through Bucharest, I was being asked whether I'm from Ukraine and whether I could be helped somehow. So there's a lot of support by the government and by just the citizens of Romania for refugees.
Nelli, you live in the Seattle area now, but it's my understanding actually that you come from Europe.
Yeah, I come from Moldova. It's a small country next to Romania and Ukraine. I immigrated to Seattle 28 years ago with my family. I was a refugee from Moldova.
My understanding is Moldova has taken in about 200,000 refugees.
Oh, more, way more, about 300,000 to 400,000.
Tell me a little bit about Moldova. I know that there is Transnistria and there's concerns over the breakaway republic and its proximity to Ukraine.
So Transnistria is an area of frozen conflict between Moldova and Russia. It has been so for years. And there are concerns that the Russian army might move into Moldova through Transnistria. For example, Moldova is a country with a large Russian-speaking population. It has taken in a lot of Ukrainian refugees because of its proximity to Ukraine. And some of the refugees are staying by and trying to wait out the war, and some are moving from Moldova to other countries. I know from my friends in Chisinau that there are a lot of refugees in the city, and that the government is trying to help as much as it can. Just today, I met a refugee from Ukraine who spoke very highly about being helped by the Moldovan people as she moved from Ukraine to Moldova, and then from Moldova to Romania. And now she's on her way to Ireland, and she was met at every one of these locations by volunteers who helped usher her through. So very proud of my small country for stepping in.
Nelli, I want to thank you so much for your time. I know you're busy. I know you're tired. I know you have a lot going on. Thank you for sharing what you're doing there in the situation there. And we will be sure to let people know to support your organization that you are with.
Thank you so much. This is a catastrophic humanitarian happening that I'm seeing here. And I know that many refugees I've spoken to, they want to go home.